You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You are listening live to the Vito and Vito Show. Disrespectful to the executive branch.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
Don't sign the damn deal, and the president will...
Therefore, I do not believe that the majority can vote a man's life or property or freedom away from him.
And we're live here on the Vito and Vito Show. I'm Vito.
I'm Vito.
And we'll bring you the perspectives of 2 college-age millennial conservative libertarians out of liberal hellhole, Brooklyn, New York, where we're committed to defending the principles of freedom, liberty, and individualism. We all know punches here on the show.
No, none whatsoever. And tonight we got a good show for you. We got a friend of the show. He called in last week. He had some technical difficulties. We called in last week. Good friend of the show, Frank Minotaur. He's the author of the book, The Ultimate Man Survival Guide, Recovering the Lost Art of Manhood. Let's talk about how men can be men, Vito. We've lost that way.
I like that.
So we're gonna bring on Frank later on. We have a pre-recorded interview with him, and he was absolutely wonderful to have on the show when he talks about the book. And we're going to talk about later on in the program how there was a push by many in the New York Times, many in the Washington Post, many in the liberal media, many movements, MoveOn.org, etc., all pushing their last hope for Donald Trump not to be president of the United States. They're trying to get electors, GOP electors, to throw their votes away when they go cast the Electoral College vote. So we're going to talk about if that's the right thing to do. We're going to talk about this notion of the popular vote. Does Donald Trump have a mandate? So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And I'm going to read you an article from the New York Times. Bear with me. I'm going to read you an article from the New York Times. We're going to talk about this crazy stuff. And we're going to see if it's even right. And what does it matter about the popular vote, if it matters at all. All right, so we got a good interview with Frank Vito. And you know, we had an interesting conversation with him last time. And we spoke about, is it right that men today can't be who they want to be? You know, they've sort of lost their way. It's the pussification of the American male, you know? And it's really like masculinity is treated as a bad thing. And this notion of femininity is just put on a pedestal and is thoroughly accepted. You know, like on the TV shows, they say men got to get in touch with their emotions. They got to get all, you know, and that's all fine and all. But at the same time, the idea of a man, you know, playing sports and the idea of a man...
beards and lumberjacks.
Talking about women and, you know,
being a man?
Yeah, like that is just not allowed anymore. Well, it's okay for women to run around, sleep with everybody, if you think about it. It's considered a sense of empowerment. You have these slut walks going around. I'm sure we've all seen those things. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. And one has to wonder, where do these people get off?
And it's all this feminists and this new modern feminism, and I think they're hypocrites.
Well, keep in mind that feminism has it sort of changed its way.
Well, that's why I said modern feminism.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, years ago, fighting for women's equal rights and all that good stuff, that was fine. But when that turns into not just women wanting equal rights, but now today it's women wanting to be much better than men, and then women running on false premises that say women don't get paid the same, which is a lie.
I think you could you could divide the women's liberation movement. I call it the women's libation movement because I think honestly they are so drunk right now in the way that they're running around trying to get their ideas passed. But the idea, the women liberation movement, into 3 stages. Three
You broke it down for us?
Yeah.
You
take the first part, and that's like the Susan B. Anthony's and the women's suffrage movement and stuff like that.
From years ago.
But keep in mind also, and if you read your history books, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see that women, specifically the homely women, were the ones who were leading the prohibition movement in the country. Did you know, by the way, Vito, fun fact for you, that pinball was illegal in New York City from the 1940s up until recently, not recently, but 1976.
For like 30 years?
For 30 years, it was illegal, and it was pushed by women who were concerned that their men would take their paychecks and gamble on pinball machines because there was a history. And throughout the country, if you look at the history of pinball, it's actually a pretty interesting history because for years, pinball has been targeted by organized crime as being a rigged game and whatnot. So they've actually banned it. They treated it like it's gambling.
That's interesting.
And they used to gamble pinball. I think Ohio itself, I could be wrong if it was Ohio, I'm going to double check that, but one of these states had a full-blown ban. And they just recently repealed.
Really?
Yeah.
Because all I know about pinball is Pinball Wizard.
No, I'm sorry. Indiana. It was a county in Indiana. There we go. Now it's coming back to me. County in Indiana.
Pinball.
Just last year, they repealed the pinball
And it's
ban.
driven by women. That going against your freedoms, literally, you can't play pinball. That just sounds ridiculous.
Well, there was the movement for that was that men are, it was considered a game of sin. It was like a vice,
All right, so let's ban alcohol. They did.
Well,
ban
they did. So anyway, but keep in mind,
ban everything.
Hold on. Now, the women's suffrage movement also made a lot of sense. You had women fighting for the right to vote, and you have women, fighting to own property, even though in certain states women were allowed to own property. So, one has to understand that it was a slow progression. Is it aided by the women's suffrage movement? I don't know. It's a good question, and that's a good debate. Anyway, so that's pretty much the first half, which we all agree with, women getting the right to vote, eventually passing the 19th Amendment.
Yep.
So we get all that. Then you could divide the next part of the women's movement up to the feminine mystique, the women, the national organization for women, the push for women to be on the same playing field as men, make the same as a man, whatever. But a lot of those things at the time period, of course, were social norms that were sort of falling by the wayside. Women would basically have to, they get a job, they go to school, they go to the workforce, they find a husband, they marry them, and then that's that.
Right, and things are drastically different, especially in women's lives, from 1950 or so, say, to today.
Sure,
that's about 60, 70 years ago.
Yeah, take a look at the Mad Men era, I understand that. But lots of women who did those things were very happy. And now we take a look at this new radical socialist feminism. And it's women who they have taken the Marxist theories and they have just slapped it onto their brand of feminism, when they are running around saying that the social classes that are fighting one another aren't the rich and poor, it's the rich men and the poor women. They're stressing genders just like Black Lives Matter stresses race.
Yeah, they're just adding another category and grouping people into these different groups.
Yeah.
And these people are ridiculous because you look at the issues that they're driving on today and the things they're doing, these quote-unquote protests, it's absolutely ridiculous. And one of the big things I saw is when these feminists were dyeing their armpit hair different colors. See, I'm a woman, I can do whatever I want. Listen, I know you can do anything you want.
It goes back to the whole women don't have to shave their legs
Yeah,
thing.
you don't have to shave your... Okay, listen, if you look like Grizzly Adams with green and blue armpit hair, fine, do what you want. I am not talking to you or sitting next to you on the subway.
All right.
So don't complain. I don't need no man. No man wants you. Because look how you look.
I think it's a great point to make, but I think it's an interesting point nonetheless. When you look at the whole situation, though, you can really divide the women's movement into those three things. And then you can go forward and you could basically start to dissect the problems of modern-day feminism. And I criticize the women's movement, and I will continue to do so, because I just don't think that they have the country's interest at heart. They've aligned themselves with radical Democrats, radical socialists, radical leftists.
Mhm.
At the same time, you have a lot of these crazy women who have basically yelled and screamed and continue to do so, attacking housewives of today. So women are eating their own. These radical feminists are eating other women. No pun intended. Because that was a good joke. You get it?
Yeah. Lesbian joke.
There you go. Oh! I just want to make sure you heard that. All right, so we... But seriously, like, they are attacking other women for being housewives. They're attacking other women for being mothers and taking themselves out of the workforce. And I think a lot of regular women who typically just want to live their lives are just being attacked as a result of it. And it's not fair. It's not fair to the Midwestern wife, if you will, the traditional American wife, who's happy with her lifestyle. And she's being told by the left that she's an evil woman abating patriarchy. It's absolutely disgusting. And, that's really the crux of it. Now, what does this whole feminism thing have to do with Frank Minotaur's book? Well, he goes into detail, talking about pretty much how masculinity has been cut, no pun intended, has been cut by the blank through feminism. Feminism is responsible for a lot of this, where women aren't allowed, or rather men aren't allowed to be who they want to be to the full extent they want to be. You never see cowboys anymore. The leading man in the movies is no longer the John Waynes and the Clark Gables or whatever,
Yeah, speaking of the movies, there's another thing with the feminists. This is why I hate. You heard, like, the Ghostbusters, they're making all female, right?
They did,
right?
Yeah.
And what else? Was they want to make James Bond a female?
No.
Or was it?
They wanted to make James Bond black, which I still don't understand because you can't turn Superfly white. You can't change James Bond black. Doesn't work like that.
But Ghostbusters, all female. Like, come on.
It was forced, like you could tell. Like, and another thing too is there is a disproportionate. I'm going to pull up the statistics a little later on in the program if I have the time. If not next week, absolutely. But there is a disproportionate amount of gay characters in TV shows today. You want to talk about just being pushed and shoved down America's throats. Look, I have no problem with the gay character on a storyline. No problem. Whatever. It's okay. And I believe Milo Yiannopoulos talked about this. Who is a gay man? Milo. So, before you call us a racist. But I don't understand that audience. So you have, think about it, watch any TV show you have right now on television. I have no problem with the gay character coming out and making, the story richer or whatever. But, like, every television show has a gay storyline. And at the same time, every television show, every movie at this point, features prominent gay characters going at it. Oh, it was Steven Crowder, excuse me, not Milo Yiannopoulos. He wrote a pretty good article on this. And that's, I couldn't believe it. Because he made a great point. He's saying how, just think about it, for the most part, it's being just like this Ghostbusters movie was being forced down America's throats. You don't have to remake Ghostbusters to an all-female cast. It does nothing to the storyline. No. Nothing but provide social justice warriors with the ammo they need. Not really ammo, but pretty much like the red meat that they want. Ooh, look, women on TV.
Go write something like what is it, Charlie's Angels.
Did you hear this talk right now that Wonder Woman is considered too white and too busty? So the UN banned Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I heard something like that.
Isn't that ridiculous?
They banned Wonder Woman?
They banned Wonder Woman.
Because she's too busty.
Too busty and too white. Don't forget the white part. It's
Too
okay.
white.
Remember, it's okay.
What does that mean?
And we've said this before, and I will say it again. It is okay to be full-blown racist against the white, straight male in today's society. But it is not right to be full-blown racist against anybody else. And, of course, racism is wrong. I should rephrase that sentence. It's not, it's okay to discriminate, rather. It's okay to blame white, straight men for your problems. It's not okay to blame black culture for the society that they're living in, where 70% of African Americans are born out of wedlock. And the graduation rate in black communities is lower than white communities. And you have more black-on-black deaths in the black community than you do in the white community.
Right. So the result is the UN banning Wonder Woman. Well, they want to make her what? A black, flat-chested girl?
I don't know. Maybe a transgendered, non-binary, whatever.
I don't know. That's ridiculous. All these things.
I remember getting into an argument with somebody about this the other day, and they remember saying them to me. They asked me about this transsexual thing, and I said, listen, if you want to live like that, no one's against it. No one hates you. It's a free country. You can do what you want. We're talking about the validity of what you're doing. And that really got some people very upset. They were very, very upset. They said, no, you're born that way. The same argument with the gay argument. And even Milo Yiannopoulos, this one he's right on. He makes the same argument. He goes, you're not really born gay. He goes, science has pretty much demonstrated the fact that you're not really born gay. It's really a mixture of nurture and nature. He's not saying it's a choice. He's saying it's sort of a mixture. So one could ask themselves, and when asked a question, I thought it was a pretty interesting interview. They asked Milo, what do you think about being gay? Would you want to change it? And Milo said he would. Now, I don't think a lot of people out there would, but the reasons he gave, I think, were pretty compelling when he said that, you don't want to live in a society where gay people are marginalized. Why would you choose to be gay when you're going to be different? You know what I mean? Something like that. You don't fit in with everybody else. So I think it was a pretty interesting talk from Milo, and I thought it provided some insight into that situation. But the minute you go against a talking point, and let me just give you a quick background, and we'll get to the interview. The talking point that, you're born gay, you're born trans, you're born this. Back in the 80s, when they said that we don't hate the lifestyle, we hate the sinner. I'm sorry, other way around. We don't hate the sinner, we hate the lifestyle. The religious right was running around decrying homosexuality.
Playing the game, not the player.
Yeah, something like that, which I think is ridiculous. Leave people alone. But nonetheless, they were running around, and that's the argument that they were trying to make. It was Milo who saw that the gay, the gay interest groups, if you will, they got together, and they were saying, well, what if we just say we were born this way? And if we were born this way, you can't really do anything about it. And therefore, you're a bigot if you're against it. So it would be like being racist. You're born black, can't do anything about it. You're born gay, can't do anything about it. So I thought it was a pretty good thing. And then that's pretty much what they've been labeling against you. So if you even come to terms with just saying, we don't even know if you are born gay, science has not settled that issue. They're quick to attack.
Right.
Anyway, I thought it was pretty good stuff. Frank Minotaur talks about this all in his book. It is a wonderful book. This Will Make a Man Out of You, One Man's Search for What Makes Men. He talks about this stuff. It's the book that's coming out. This Will Make a Man Out of You, One Man's Search for What Makes Men. We're going to play the interview, go to break, come back, talk about Trump and the Electoral College. Don't go anywhere in the Vito and Vito Show.
It's about manning up to become the people we really want to be, to build that character that this society's been tearing down for so long. I looked around and I said, as a journalist, let me answer the question, what makes men? And I was drawn to go and do one of the coolest things you could do on this planet, I think, to go run with those bulls in Pamplona. And to do that, I actually chased Hemingway from those steward cafes in Paris to the streets of Pamplona during the running of the bulls, and I did every part of that. Let me tell you, I even did the suicide run right at the beginning where you run at the bulls to prove my crazy part of manhood. So, no, it was there, and it was fun.
Well, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, but we all know that masculinity isn't about just running around with bulls. It's about being a chivalrous man, holding the door open for ladies. It's about picking up the check when you're out. It's like being that sort of thing. And that seems to fall by the wayside as a result of this new wave feminism that's coming around and this whole political correctness thing that's being pushed out on college campuses that we're surrounded by. As two college students, we deal with this on a daily basis, and we don't understand, where do men fit in society today? Where do white straight men fit in society today? Because they're pretty much always attacked.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to with this proving yourself, whether it's running with the bulls or climbing cliffs or jumping out of an airplane, whatever it is you want to do. It doesn't have to be something that extreme, of course, but it's that reality. It's that getting out of these alternate universes, whether it's in academia, which can be terrible these days, or it's just in social media or just playing video games or Hollywood. When you have to actually step out and do something real that tests you, something you can actually really fail at to grow up into something. And if you do that in a way that also pushes you into chasing an ideal, to living upon a real code of honor, then you really start to grow into a man. And that's the kind of thing I found in Pamplona with this group of people who chases that Hemingway persona, who tries to be that ideal bull runner, but actually lives and by a code. Because when you're on the street, if you do the wrong things, you can get people hurt. So you actually have to follow those kinds of values you find. And it's surprising when they're there. I mean, if you actually distract a bull or grab a bull or do something, you get that bull turned around, he'll start to kill people in that street. He'll start to really hurt people. So there's a value system that's even built into that. Any kind of man thing really has that. And you see that in today's society, where a lot of this youth and a lot of these college kids we have just haven't been given those chances, been taken away from them, but even by their parents, not letting them grow up. A lot of parents actually bring the level down to their kids instead of rising their kids up to something. So you have these kids out there today who just haven't been given that chance, those real fun things to do to grow themselves into what they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, that happens to be probably one of the biggest things going on right now in regards to young college men, because so many of them, and I think our listeners would agree, so many of them are young college students who are just liberal. But when I mean liberal, not like democratic liberal, where like, yeah, whatever, some regulation and some high taxes on the rich. I'm talking like full-on extremism, where a lot of these kids are focused on literally holding signs saying, I'm sorry. I mean, how many times have we seen these pictures of just white guys or just guys in general holding signs saying, I'm sorry, for just being
there's
men.
something.
It's not their fault, It's just like the colleges are forcing it upon these students.
Right, they're being indoctrinated, and that's why I talk about reality. I mean, you don't find many liberal cowboys. They're dealing with something real when they deal with horses and bulls and all that kind of stuff. You don't find many liberal firemen. They're dealing with real things. When people get out there and start to do things, they grow up. Unfortunately, too many people today can live in these alternate realities throughout their life. They work for the government or they work for some big corporation. They can stay in those little places and be these kind of girly men. But you can't trust those kind of people. I've had so many women come to me after they read my book and stuff and say, where do I find this guy, this gentleman, this stand-up person, this person I can trust? All I have around me are these little girly men, these boy men.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Why is it that masculinity, because it's no longer okay to be masculine. I mean, saying I like sports and I like, the rough and tough, and we saw what Donald Trump said, in regards to just having that locker room talk a couple of months ago. That's all considered bad, evil, disgusting, filth, chauvinistic, whatever. So why is masculinity so bad, and what's the alternative in the new left's in their agenda?
Because it's a threat to feminism, and as they see it, it isn't really. It's not a threat to equality, but as they see it, and it's a threat to this liberal utopia they want to set up. Because somebody who can pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, that old saying, is individual. That person doesn't need the nanny state to come and coddle them and help them up and give them a little safe space on their college campus. That person is going to go and do something. And that actually frightens the left. That individual frightens the left. They want somebody who can be controlled, be a sheep for them, through the social programs and everything they want to do. They're there to help you. That's the way they see it. So somebody who can stand up, and this is why guns scare the hell out of them. I mean, the Second Amendment, the individual right to bear arms, that a person can actually defend their own life with a firearm, to them is so crazy. They just can't even conceive of it. That scares them, that individual would have that kind of power. But that's the American system. That's what's made America into what we are. And that's what they're destroying. I mean, that's the extreme side of it, but they are, piece by piece, tearing it down. I mean, they've been doing this for more than a half century now, feminism, just pulling out all the things that used to be what made a man. And what are they left men with? Nothing. They're not supposed to be men, and then giving them nothing else in return. They're supposed to be what? Women? Something else? Meanwhile, they've left women in an equal state. Are they supposed to be men? Are they supposed to be something else? They don't go according to this liberal kind of ideal of what makes a feminist today. If they're conservative but strong and believe in equality, well, then they can't be a feminist. So they're caught in between somewhere. This is where they've left this generation.
Right. So now here's the question. What is masculinity? I mean, if we could define it, because we all know what it is, but I just wanted a clear definition to make the argument against the left so that we're not left out in the term in the cold and we can define our terms. What is masculinity? And for that matter, what is femininity if we could define those two terms?
Well, okay. I define masculinity manliness as according to character. So I don't even put gender in there. It's a person who's honorable and stands up on a code, who will do the right thing no matter what, and has the strength and bearing to do that. That's manly. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you see a car accident and Pee Wee Herman shows up and an NFL linebacker shows up and the NFL linebacker is crying and is just falling apart, well, who's more manly? If Pee Wee Herman's there putting on the tourniquet and calling 911. So it isn't physique. I don't even think it's gender. I mean, I've hunted dangerous game with women. I've climbed cliffs with women. I've run the bulls in Pamplona with women. And I've found that some of them are tougher than the men around them. So I'd look at it as a question of character. So it's that person who can stand up with a strong back and do what's right no matter what. That's what's manly.
Okay, so now what's femininity?
I think a feminine woman who could be strong is just the ultimate in femininity. I mean, she's powerful, she's strong, but she's also a lady. She also is attractive to the male, to the opposite sex. I mean, she's not afraid to be a woman. Yet, why does that make her weak? I don't think it should. I think that's a false premise. And I think it's unfortunate that we put ourselves there in society and say these things are opposites when they're not. So I think a woman can be feminine and be strong, and a man can be masculine and strong without being a chauvinist. I think if a man has to put down women in order to prop up his own ego, well, then he's too weak, he's too insecure to be a real man anyway. So a real gentleman isn't that way to begin with. So I think from the beginning we're dealing with bad definitions.
Okay, well, I agree with that. So are you saying that masculinity, just so I clarify, masculinity and femininity aren't specific to gender, but rather
Well, I would say masculinity and femininity are specific to gender, but I want to turn manliness, and I'm separating that out, and our language just hasn't caught up with where we are. I think we need to actually come up with new terms, but I mean that makes me sound very politically correct and anything but I think we do because there's so much baked into when we say man or woman, there's so much baked into these things that people assume, and I think it's just an unfortunate. You got to start by defining all these terms.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's a very clear way to start the argument. So now let me ask you about this, pal. All right, because I saw you wrote an article this was a while ago. I think it was last year, and you wrote Playboy is giving up its porn. Here's why men should say hooray.
Right.
Come on, Frank. I don't know. I mean, we're college students.
There's no shortage of porn out there. There's no shortage of porn. But actually, Playboy has a certain point of view, and that point of view has been hidden from us. I mean, you have to open the cellophane package. You got to, and a lot of places you got to ask for it. It's in a place where kids can't get it. So it was kept out of arm's reach. So it wasn't having the social impact I think it could have with its gentlemanly message that vices aren't necessarily bad. See, vices are there to refine us as men. Having a drink doesn't make you manly. It's knowing how much to drink or how much not to drink that makes you manly. And that's the kind of viewpoint you get from Playboy. But I think by having the pornography in there, it just wasn't having the impact in society it could have.
Okay, well, I mean, all right. Okay. All right. I get what you're saying. I do. But at the same time, that centerfold is something that that's something that we look forward to.
It got so tame, though. I mean, it became. I don't know.
That's true. But I want to talk about that political correctness because we see this going on. We know about the political correct culture of today and how men cannot be themselves anymore. That it's very hard for men to, like you said, run with the bulls, for example. It's not considered manly anymore. So how do we go ahead and how do we fight this? I mean, do we just write articles? Do we protest? Do we march? What do we do? How do we effectively change the tide here? Because really, a lot of this is starting and brewing in the universities and in the Ivy League towers. How do we I've said it before. We have to infiltrate the Ivy League and go after the ideas with conservative professors, but good luck trying to get a tenured professor to hire you. So how do you turn around and fight this?
You have to, with understanding. People have to read. They have to think. We need movies that actually. I mean, did you see the latest Ben-Hur? I mean, talk about a girly man in the lead role. It just didn't work, and I don't think they understood that. You watch the old classic with Charlton Heston. It worked because he was that stand-up, manly guy, and I don't think that they got that. And it's having those roles and getting that stuff out there, and that understanding with people. That hunger for that. There's a huge hunger now for what makes a man. People are asking this question all over the place, often with the wrong answers, but they're at least trying to ask these questions. So I see a lot of hope. I think over the next generation, these answers will start to come as we search for them, because now they've thrown us into a dark room and said, you can't be anything. Well, that's not going to work. We're going to look for a light. We're going to go someplace. I think people are starting to do that now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, have you seen the new Ghostbusters movie with an all-female? I mean, come on. Come on.
No,
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, how do you replace Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd? To me, it doesn't make any sense. I even heard, speaking of political correctness, and I wonder if you have an opinion on this, Frank. Now I heard that they want to make James Bond. They want to make him a black guy. I mean, I understand the whole diversity thing and the argument they're trying to push here, but at the same time, you can't really make James Bond, who's been around for, I don't know, over 50 years, over 40 years. You can't really just change who he is. They also want to make Spider-Man.
Well, he's iconic, but I don't mind if it's a black guy or a Hispanic guy. That doesn't bother me at all if it's the right kind of dude. But it does bother me if it's suddenly a woman. I mean, or if it's an outwardly gay man. I mean, nothing against people of that sexual orientation, but James Bond is not that. He's a ladies' man. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, we're from New York, so we got a whirl of culture over here, or whatever you want to call it. So I got no problem with that. But at the same time, I think there are certain things that need to be preserved, and to me, it doesn't make any sense. That's like turning around and making Shaft white. You can't really change Shaft or Superfly and make him a white guy, because then he loses the whole image. It's not cool anymore. But I don't know, Frank. I think you make some great points, and I want to know where I can go ahead and get this book, and I want our listeners to know where they can go get this book. So go ahead and plug your book away, and where can we contact it?
Well, This Will Make a Man of You is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, really wherever books are sold. I'm known in this genre. I also did a book, a New York Times bestseller called The Ultimate Man Survival Guide, which has all the skills a man should know. So I've been doing this for a long time. So you can find me lots of places, but frankminiature.com is my website. I do a column for Forbes and I write for a lot of people. So if you Google me, you'll find lots of stuff.
All right, cool, Frank. So go ahead. What's your Twitter handle?
What's what?
Your Twitter handle?
Just Frank Miniature.
Okay. All right, so Frank,
I make it easy.
There you go. Simple and straight to the point. So go ahead, Frank. I got to ask you just one question before we go. Please fill me in. What is a man? Because I see this all the time when I go to a bar. Guys are ordering pina coladas. Guys are sitting there. They're ordering cosmopolitans. They're ordering vodka and cranberries. They're ordering, I'm like, what are you doing, guy? So what's a manly drink? To me, Jack on the Rocks or an old-fashioned are manly drinks. What's the manliest drink you could order?
Yeah, I mean, I usually drink bourbon. I mean, if I'm going to drink beer, it's dark, but that's just me. I try not to judge by drinks, but Bart, if you're drinking something fruity and you're not in an island somewhere, there's something wrong with you.
That's it. We're not in Club Tropicana, pal. We're in a dive bar. So go ahead and take a shot at Jack. All right, Frank Minotaur, thanks so much. We appreciate you for coming on. The author, This Will Make a Man of You, One Man's Search for What Makes Men. And the book is out now, correct?
Sure is.
There you go. All right. Thanks so much, Frank, for coming on the Vito and Vito Show.
Thank you.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save.
Your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org, brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the California Society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
How to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ReadyPA.org, brought to you by ReadyPA, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
And we're back here on the Vito and Vito Show. How we doing? Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Give us a follow, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show. That was our interview with Frank Minotaur. Great interview. Good friend. And a pleasure to have him on. Check out the book, This Will Make a Man Out of You. One Man's Search for What Makes Men. Talk about American masculinity today. Here we go. All right. Next topic of conversation on the agenda. There's a push, ladies and gentlemen, for electors to defect away for voting from Donald Trump. With the Electoral College set to meet next week, millions of Americans, horrified by the prospect of a Donald J. Trump presidency, have implored red state electors to vote for Hillary Clinton or an establishment Republican. Millions of Americans supportive of Mr. Trump find these efforts galling, but both sides agree on what makes such electors faithless. It's called a faithless elector. That's from the New York Times. I read that from an article. It's from the opinion pages. I don't know if that matters. And it was from David Posen. Why the GOP Electoral College members can vote against Trump. In other words, what the left is seeking to do in their last push to deny Trump the presidency and deny millions upon millions upon millions of people who want change. They want Donald Trump not to win, and they're going to do everything they can to try to stop that. And they need electors to defect away and vote for Hillary Clinton or an outsider candidate, a third-party candidate rather, an establishment Republican. They can do whatever they want. The electors, once they get there, they can vote whoever they want to. Typically, they vote however their state voted. So, Donald Trump won Florida. 29 electoral votes should go to Donald Trump. If you get enough Republicans to switch over, you can pretty much deny Donald Trump the presidency, and it's all constitutional. What do you think?
Oh, but do you see this happening?
No, not at all. This is just, to me, it's like, this is ridiculous. They're trying to do this. And the best part about it's so funny, because all we heard from the left, when they were so sure Donald Trump was going to lose, was that Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump needs to accept the results of the election. Has to accept the results of the election. Well,
the hypocrites.
Hypocrites, please, if you haven't a clue. It's unbelievable. I mean, this is like blatantly hypocritical. Why can't you accept the results of an election that are perfectly fine? Now, the argument the left is making is that Donald Trump lost the popular vote. And honestly, and this is my argument, I could give a damn what the popular vote numbers are. I don't care about the popular vote. I don't care which way it swings. I don't really care who wins the popular vote. It doesn't matter. The Constitution was not set up for the popular vote to win.
Well, it's not pure democracy.
Pretty much. On the other hand, also, a lot of celebrities are coming out, Martin Sheen being one of them, and I like him. He's a good actor.
I hate when celebrities do this because I like a lot of them.
Yeah, Robert De Niro. I love De Niro.
He's all right.
Oh, no.
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I thought he was great. I still do. I think he's a great actor.
I like his comments.
He's absolutely amazing. His comments on Trump, I can't agree with. Sorry.
Like Cher. I love Cher.
Oh, boy. But, anyway, so a lot of celebrities are coming out and basically bashing Donald Trump. And at the same time, they're trying to encourage electors to become faithless and vote their conscience. That's a new thing now. Vote their conscience. How funny is that?
Where did that come from?
Isn't that silly? Vote your conscience. Anyway, so as they steal Ted Cruz's line to vote your conscience, you have a lot of the people, these electors, seeking another candidate. And frankly, the left is using, a lot of these celebrities are using a line in the Constitution that pretty much says that the position of the president is to be held for somebody who is competent and willing and qualified. I'm paraphrasing it, but you pretty much get the point. Well, the left seems with their with their wealth of knowledge to basically discredit Donald Trump because he's not qualified to be president. He has no experience. They're going to give you the whole runaround. But I find it funny when the people, these are celebrities supposed to represent the people's voices, so they say. They say they're representing the people's voices. But they're not really representing the people's voices when the people voted for Donald Trump. And don't give me this crap, the popular vote, that Hillary Clinton won by 2 million votes. I don't care. You know where she got those 2 million votes from. Probably half of them are illegals. But anyway, I'll even give it the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, Hillary Clinton got 2 million more votes than Donald Trump. She got 2 million more votes in California and got 2 million more votes in New York City. Period, end of story. The rest of the country shifted.
And they did a recount.
Did a recount in
she lost some votes.
They did a recount in Wisconsin. And she wound up losing. Michigan as well. I think it's interesting to see that the more and more we continue to hear about this crap, the more and more we continue to see the left push on the American people that they're not smart enough to pick the president. They're not smart enough to root for somebody like Donald Trump. They're not smart enough to vote Republican. That's not fair. That's disrespectful. That's one of the reasons why they lost. People are tired of the elitism, the smug, the pretentious liberal. The one that wears a beret in the middle of Starbucks, drinking a coffee that's probably worth a lot more than it should be.
A raspberry beret?
A raspberry beret, He's got a pencil-thin mustache. It might be a woman. It might not even have a gender anymore. Sitting in Starbucks, carrying around a typewriter instead of a laptop because they think that it's cool, wearing some ginormous horn-rimmed glasses, and they have a beard. They have a beard that is as big as a rabbi's. And everyone's a writer.
All writing something.
Or an artist. Or a painter. Or I don't know. None of them actually work. They live off their parents' money. And they went to very expensive schools with a degree in basket weaving and a minor in aquatic swim lessons. So, honestly, none of these people have any sort of societal good. But at the same time, these are the people who somehow believe that they are much smarter than you. They believe they know what to do with your life better than what you know what to do with it. So I frankly believe that is the most disrespectful thing. It goes back to the argument about masculinity. You're not allowed to be a man anymore. You're not allowed. It's not okay. You kidding me? This is the argument I hear from these idiots.
And these families, I think they're hypocrites. I think a good amount of them are hypocrites because they say, oh, you know, you can cry, you know, you can show your emotions. And then, God forbid, a man is not so burly, manly man. Then the women are like, oh, I want a man's man, you know, and then they all hypocrites and they go back on their word. So men are screwed here, especially if you're white and straight.
Well,
you're screwed.
It's the scapegoat. That's what it's become. The left has created the scapegoat.
And this whole quote-unquote rape culture. Mm-hmm. That God forbid you look at a woman the wrong way when she's passing by. Oh my God, he raped me with his eyes.
That's it. This is the argument.
Okay, then that comes about these like the California laws that that say you have to verbally ask and receive permission before you make any advancements physically with the woman at any point during the night.
Is this okay?
Or in bed.
Is this okay?
Is this okay?
Is this okay?
Like really?
Unbelievable.
I was actually watching a show recently. It was left on the TV. I don't like this stuff. And one of the girls was complaining on her campus that they need those kind of California laws. And another woman spoke out against it, saying that ruins the whole intimacy, yada, 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 and you can't have those things. And they completely went after this woman. Like, no, you need these California laws. You need to protect the women. The rape culture, they're going after women.
That's the key word. You need this. You need, as if I can't decipher my own needs. It's very disrespectful. And frankly, the more and more I continue to hear these conversations from the left, this notion that Donald Trump doesn't deserve the presidency. Who are you to determine if he doesn't deserve the presidency? You didn't win. You don't get to determine if he can deserve it or not. You voiced your opinion, and your opinion wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't enough people to agree with you. More people disagreed with you. Do not give me the popular vote. I don't care. Donald Trump has a mandate to get in office and do what he wants to do. So long as the Congress works with him.
Hopefully.
Let's also keep in mind, when they say that he doesn't have a mandate, that Donald Trump, that the Republicans, under the Donald Trump sweep, took a majority of state legislatures, took a majority of governorships, took a majority of House seats when they were supposed to lose seats in the House, took majority of the Senate when they were supposed to lose seats this time because the map was against Republicans, and the White House. Republicans are in the best shape they've been in terms of legislative control, since the 1920s. Doesn't matter. They have a mandate. And it's a big one, and Donald Trump has a lot of big things he has to fill. We're going to go to break real soon, then we're going to get to forget about it moments. But before we do that, I just want to jump on the Rex Tillerson appointment. Donald Trump choosing Rex Tillerson. He's the ExxonMobil CEO. And the Times and all. I love it how these liberal networks are finally going after Russia. Like it took them years to finally call out Russia. Now they're finally doing it. Think about it, Vito. The New York Times, CNN, they're saying Rex Tillerson is gonna, make us friendly with Russia. We can't allow it. Bernie Sanders is attacking. Bernie Sanders, out of all people.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand this. It's so funny because I would never have thought the Russians and the Democrats were going to be against each other as much as they are. It's very funny.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. All right, so what do you think of Rex? Go ahead. What do you think of the Secretary of State choice?
I've heard so many different things. Is it good or is it bad that he's friends with Russia, this and that, ExxonMobil? I heard, as Secretary of State, is he going to be able to put sanctions or do anything against Russia that affects the oil after being CEO of Exxon? Seems like a conflict of interest. Then again, do you go ahead and trust Donald Trump's judgment? I mean,
Well, look, put it like this. If you go after Russia and you have Rex Tillerson, who is the CEO of ExxonMobil, his ties to Russia, because he has business deals over there, are certainly questionable. At the same time, the number one thing the Russians have is energy. And if you're able to use somebody like Tillerson, who has expertise in energy, against the Russians, that could help. But again, what could you use him for? Trump didn't just make this pick out of the back of his hat. The guy obviously thought and deliberated on this pick because it is such an important pick. This is the chief diplomat next to the president. So one has to wonder just what he can do. But we'll see what Rex Tillerson stands for and what he wants to do. I look forward. This is the one thing. This is the one position I look forward to, because you just need 3 Republicans to defect away, and Rand Paul, John McCain. They said they're not going to vote for him. Lindsey Graham said he doesn't like him. So that could be enough senators to deny this guy the post. I'm curious to see what the confirmation hearings are going to be like. That's something I'm going to watch, because there's really nothing else I really care about. I mean, who's there? What? Mike Flynn. Okay, I like him.
Secretary of Interior, Vito.
What? What's his name?
Zinke.
Matt Zinke. I got no problem with that.
We know. We interviewed him a couple
Terrific.
times. So I like
and congratulations. I got no problem. He's great. I got no problem with a lot of these guys. What I'm curious to know about is the Secretary of State position, and I really want to know how the Senate is going to confirm him, what they're going to question him on, and if they're going to confirm him at all. And if they don't, who's the second pick? We're going to break here on the Vito and Vito Show. Don't go away. Forget about it. When we return.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save
your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the California Society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other
and had
in no
idea
time.
how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm
don't
and
ignore
keep to the
this
plan.
message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ReadyPA.org. Brought to you by ReadyPA, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
And we're back here on the Vito and Vito Show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. And it's about that time of the week, Vito.
What?
Forget about it?
Forget about it.
Forget about
it.
Oh, forget about it.
Yeah, you talk right in the middle of the clip is playing, too.
See, this is why, usually you talk, you press the button, then you talk.
Hey, you're doing all right.
I mean, it's hard to see from behind the desk what you're clicking on.
Well, we were going to stick you in another room.
I see.
We're going to stick you in another room and make you do the show from there. And I was going to disconnect your microphone. It's going to become the Vito Show. That would have been nice, right? Has a nice ring to it. The Vito Show, right?
As long as you click the button.
It's like Arsenio Hall, right? Arsenio Hall, the Vito Show. Arsenio Hall, the Vito. I like it. Two brothers. Okay, what do you got?
Ha-ha.
Ha-ha. Go ahead, Vito. What do you got? Forget about moments, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know.
There you go. Vito.
We break down some of the craziest moments this past week, whether in the world of politics, just the world in general. And we've been saying in Brooklyn, it's called Forget About It. And that's when we say that the world is going under, and I'm just so embarrassed as to what's going on. So, Vito, what do you got? Come on.
I'm glad you remembered your lines.
Okay.
The White House Chief of Staff.
Prince Priebus. Current or new?
The current one.
Oh, okay.
Dennis McDonough.
Mm-hmm.
He told David Axelrod on his podcast, he said that Obama...
the winner. Go ahead.
He said Obama is the most Catholic president in history.
Most Catholic president? He's Catholic?
Yes. No, that's the funny thing.
Oh.
You know who was a Catholic president?
JFK.
Which would probably make him the most Catholic, since he was a Catholic.
What spurred that thing? Let me look this up. Hold on. What? Okay, what do you have on this story, Vito? Tell me.
We said that he's the most Catholic, and he says not by what he does every day, and he doesn't do everything consistent with the Catholic teaching, but he was a very spiritual man growing up, and he found his religion when he got older, and yada yada yada, became a big religious guy, conveniently to win over the majority of the country.
Is that documentary up on Netflix, Barry? You all see this? The Barry documentary?
Right.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Obama's documentary of him, like, growing up. Because this guy's got, like, 6 biographies.
Autobiographies.
He's got, like, 6, 7, 8 autobiographies. He's got maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 different movies about his life, different parts when he was growing up. He's got more articles and short stories written about him than anything else. This guy is a mythical character. It's unbelievable. Okay? Unbelievable. James Bond has less stories written about him than Barack Obama. It's absolutely insane. This guy, it's before he's 40 years old, he had more stories than anything else. But anyway, Barack, the movie's called Barry. It's out on Netflix. I'm curious to see if it is out. I think it is. I'm not so sure. Go check it out.
This is 2016.
But I do want to see it. I do want to see it. It's about him growing up, and I'm curious to see if,
I like
how it humanizes Barack Obama. Because that's what these things are. They're an attempt to humanize,
Right.
Make him more relatable, so you can look back and say, that was a good president, huh?
For his third term.
Wouldn't be surprised if he signs an executive order to do so. What else you got there, Vito?
Well, did you know that? You remember Dylan Roof,
the guy who shot up the church?
Yes,
was it in South Carolina?
Yes, one of
the
Carolina.
Go ahead.
Yes,
one of the Carolinas.
Recently,
Carolina. Go ahead.
Recently, he decided to be his own lawyer, which is a little shock. I don't know why this young kid wanted to be his own lawyer. So he went to court this week, and surprisingly, he lost.
He's a nut job.
Yeah, they found him every account, and he's gonna be in jail for a very long time.
They should give him the chair.
33 federal crimes.
Unbelievable. What a disgrace.
So
that guy, an absolute disgrace.
I don't see how any lawyer could really defend him. I mean, aside from Hillary Clinton, because that's what she does.
But he's a nut job, this kid. Like, there's something wrong with him. He needs to be institutionalized.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that he did what he did, but,
And, well, he's going to jail or the chair or whatever. Not, for the mentally ill because he defended himself. I want to know what he said. Like, how can you defend yourself? Like,
did he plead not guilty?
Yeah.
Or guilty? He pled not guilty.
Not guilty, I believe. Because that's...
Got the wrong guy. All right, what else you got?
33 counts.
Go ahead.
And then finally, Vito, this might interest you. Apparently, the New York Post reported this, that they found out why human males don't have bones in their penises, but other mammals do.
Why did they have to research this? Go ahead.
I don't know, but this is probably taxpayer money.
Probably.
But a new study suggests that monogamy and the short length of human sex may be the reason why men don't have bones and penises, while other mammals like bears, chimps, and gorillas do. And it shows that those animals have sex for much longer than men, human men. which is longer than 3 minutes on average. So we're not looking good as a species here.
Well, you know what? We'll best be pumping something. I don't know.
This is what they found out. What that says to science or how that affects my day, I don't know. But I don't have a bone in my penis, despite certain slang words.
Did you know? Here's one for you. I don't really contribute to Forget About It. Come to think of it, I don't really contribute anything. But if we look at Forget About It moments, here's one. Facebook is, did you hear this? That they're employing fact checkers like Snopes.com, Snoops, whatever it's called.
Snoops.
You know, the absolutely ridiculous leftist organization who's pent up on destroying any sort of Republican. And the other one, PolitiFact, to investigate, comb through Facebook, and pick out fake news. Believe that? You know, first it was you're racist, then you're sexist, then you're a homophobe, then you're transphobic, now it's fake news. So anything you don't agree with them, you're something else. Democrats have blamed fake news, racism, sexism. They've blamed white people. They've blamed privilege. They've blamed everything else and anything else but the fact that Barack Obama was a terrible president and Hillary Clinton is a horrific candidate. That's the problem.
Right, but if it's actual fake news, like you're going around telling people Hugh Hefner died.
No, I don't care. The market will set itself out. The people will see it. They will not look at it, and then they will never click on that source again.
You know how many times I gotta hear my mom at night? Oh my God, did you hear Hugh Hefner
So
died?
then you laugh about it and say ha ha ha, and you look at the address file next time, and you'll be safe. This is you do not go out there and start. Who is Facebook to start censoring and determining what is news? It's not for them. And you know, Facebook has a history of going after conservatives. You know they're going to go after this show. They're probably going to go after other conservative shows.
Sure, this is fake news. We're not a news show.
Well, I don't know. What are we? We're a blank show. Fill in the blank. Turn us in next week. Vito and Vito. Go to the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Give us a follow. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show.